Hello, in this video I will show you how to solve this SAT problem. To understand this problem, we should first underline important information and thoroughly read the problem. So the question is that Richard has 7 times as many pineapples as Fred, Nathan has 3 times as many pineapples as Fred, Richard has 32 more pineapples than Nathan. How many pineapples does Fred have? Now let's go ahead and underline the information that we think that is important. So Richard has 7 times as many pineapples as Fred. So Richard has 7 times as many pineapples as Fred. And then Nathan has 3 times as many pineapples as Fred. So Nathan has 3 times as many pineapples as Fred. And finally, Richard has 32 more pineapples than Nathan. So Richard has 32 more pineapples than Nathan. And then we have our question, which is, how many pineapples does Fred have? So that's, how many pineapples does Fred have? That's our question. Now, the first step in solving this problem will be the guiding step for the rest of the problem. So the one thing that you have to do when you see these many variables, you should first give a variable to every single name or number that you see. So you've got Richard, Fred, and Nathan. Those are the 3 people in this problem. So we'll do Richard, Nathan, and Fred. We'll give them all variables. We'll just do Richard equals R, Nathan equals N, and Fred equals F. Those will be our 3 variables. Now, let's just get into the problem. So what we have to do in this problem is that we have to set up a bunch of different equations, and that will allow us to find what certain variables equate to. So Richard has 7 times as many pineapples as Fred. So that means Richard has more pineapples. So that means we can set up our equation like this. R is equal to Fred, so 7 times Fred, which means that Richard has 7 times as many pineapples as Fred. And that will be our first equation. Our next equation is Nathan has 3 times as many pineapples as Fred, which means that Nathan has more pineapples. So N equals 3F. The reason it's written like this is because Nathan has 3 times the amount that Fred has. So that means Nathan will equal 3 times Fred. That will be our second equation. And our final equation is Richard has 32 more pineapples than Nathan. So Richard has more pineapples than Nathan. So that means Richard equals Nathan's amount plus 32. Those will be our 3 equations that we need to solve, that we need to put against each other in order to find how many pineapples Fred has. So immediately we see that we have 2 R values. That means what we can do is we can take these 2 values and we can set them against each other, because R equals N plus 32 and R equals 7F. So that means we can set another equation like this. We can do N plus 32 is equal to 7F. That will be our equation. Now let's find out what N equals. So let's solve this problem. But when you try and solve this problem, you see that you can't, because you have too many variables. You can't you can't solve an equation with two variables and without a second equation. So that means we have to plug in our second equation. So that means we take our n value and we put it in for n in our equation. So that means 3f, which is n, plus 32 is equal to 7f. So now we've made it so that there's only one variable. And let's go ahead and solve this. We can do minus 3f and minus 3f. That means 32 is equal to 4f. And if we divide by 4 to isolate f, we have f is equal to 32 by 4, which means that f equals 8. And 8 will be our final answer. We can go ahead and check that if we want. So we'll plug this f back into our original equations. So we've got Richard equals 7f. So and f is 8, so 7 times 8. Richard has 56 pineapples. And we take our Fred amount and we put it into Nathan's equation. So that means we have n equals 3 times 8, which is Fred's amount. So that means we have n equals 24. So Nathan's amount is 24. And now we just plug these two values into our third equation. And we have 56 equals 24 plus 32. And that will make sense. So that means we know that our correct solution is f equals 8. So that means Fred has 8 pineapples. Thank you for watching this video, and make sure to like and subscribe, and be sure to watch out for future videos.